Hi, I'm Robert B. Mitchell, author of The Partisans, James G. Blaine, Roscoe Conkling, and the Politics of Rivalry and Revenge in the Gilded Age. On January 6th, Americans will mark the 5th anniversary of the 2021 assault on the U.S. Capitol aimed at preventing Congress from certifying the victory of Joe Biden over Donald Trump in the 2020 presidential election. For the first time in our history, partisan violence threatened the peaceful transfer of power. But the 2020 presidential campaign wasn't the first whose outcome was disputed. 150 years earlier, presidential hopefuls Republican Rutherford B. Hayes of Ohio and Democrat Samuel Tilden of New York fought to a draw. The morning after the election, headlines reflected confusion about the outcome. Partisan newspapers were full of threats, and from the South came persistent rumors of mob violence, Republican James G. Blaine of Maine wrote. Attention quickly focused on conflicting results from Florida, Louisiana, and South Carolina. As Congress scrambled to find a peaceful resolution to the crisis, an unlikely figure emerged to forge a compromise solution. Republican Senator Roscoe Conkling of New York radiated partisanship. He presided over the most powerful Republican political machine in the country and routinely condemned Democrats, particularly Southern Democrats, for their complicity with secession. But he was also a close ally of President Ulysses S. Grant, who wanted a peaceful resolution of the election crisis. Grant asked Conkling to push for formation of a commission to review disputed election records. Conkling complied. As envisioned, the 15-member panel would include members of Congress and judges from the Supreme Court. Its rulings would be submitted to Congress and would be final if accepted by either the House or Senate. Conkling faced a daunting task. Many in his own party, including Blaine, Representative James A. Garfield of Ohio, and Senator Oliver Morton of Indiana, opposed the commission. They wanted the president of the Senate, Republican Thomas Ferry of Michigan, presiding because Vice President Henry Wilson had died in 1875, to rule on the validity of the disputed returns. While staying mum in public, Conkling privately pressed colleagues to support the electoral panel. When the Senate debated legislation to create the commission, Conkling played a leading role. In two speeches delivered over the course of 2 days, Conkling surveyed the legal and political arguments in favor of the commission. One of his arguments addressed an issue that emerged in 2021. Like Republican opponents of the Electoral Commission, Trump supporters believed Vice President Mike Pence possessed the legal authority to rule on the validity of disputed returns. Conkling vigorously disagreed. The Constitution empowers the Vice President to open but not count electoral votes. Permitting the Vice President to act as a judge in cases of disputed returns makes no sense because the Vice President could be, and often was, a candidate for president. We are asked to believe, Conkling told the Senate, that our fathers intended to make one individual the sole judge in his own case. The Senate and many Republicans agreed with Conkling. Congress approved the Electoral Commission, creating a mechanism to peacefully resolve the disputed election. Democrats groused as the panel voted 8-7 in favor of Hayes, but it ensured that Hayes could take office on March 4th. Democrats never reconciled themselves to Hayes' victory, but one recognized years later that Conkling played the role of statesman in the fevered atmosphere of 1877. He did his utmost to avert a new civil war which we believed to be imminent. New York Democrat Abram Hewitt remembered. He loved his party, Hewitt recalled, but he loved his country more.